Hello, in this video I will show you the A229 Pro and A229 Plus, the latest dash cams from Viofo. They are an upgrade from the A229. The main upgrade is the Starvis 2 sensor compared to A229, but also the HDR feature, which is very important for reading car licenses plates during night. Also, I included here the A139 Pro camera because the A139 Pro, it is using the same image sensor like A229 Pro, and I will want to present to you also a camera, a telephoto lens camera, which will be mounted at the interior of the car using this interior connector with this connector from the camera. This is a factory sample. This is not look nice. It is very possible this is to not be the final version of this telephoto lens, but you need to know that if you want to better capture the car licenses plates, especially in USA where the car licenses plates are small and also their character are small, you will have bigger chances if you mount this camera with A139 Pro. Right now, this telephoto lens camera will be made for A139 Pro, but I expect the same camera to be made also for A229 Pro and A229 Plus. But right now this camera cannot be used on these two cameras because this connector is different, and I will show you a little later what are the connectors for these cameras, because the connectors for interior camera for the new versions are different from the A229. So right now I will open the gift box of A229 Pro. This is not an unboxing. I would just want to show you the cameras. When you will buy the camera, it will come with this connection wiring. So here we have the power connector. Use it on A229. It was the power. Now it's not the power, it is the rear camera connector. It is marked already as rear. So this is for the rear. The other connector here was for the microphone, but now became the interior camera connector. You can see also here the interior camera connector. So the main differences between these cameras is that the connectors are different, but also the GPS mount is different. So it is not good to use the old A229 GPS mount on the new A229 Pro and A229 Plus. Yes, here are the cameras. And I consider right now important is to show you the cables. Here is the cable for the rear camera. It's an USB-C cable 6 meters long, which will fit on the rear camera. And for the interior camera we have another cable. This is the 3.5 millimeters jack, and here we have also an USB-C for the interior camera. And maybe, who knows, if the telephoto lens will be launched also for these two cameras, the same cable to be used also for the telephoto lens. Right now it's just a supposition. Viofo was not starting to make this camera for the A229 Plus and Pro. I will take this away because you understand what is the difference regarding the hardware. So I made a little zoom on this table to show you the main differences for the cameras. Here we have the Pro, the Plus, the A229 and the 139 Pro. As we can see, the Pro have 4K, 2K rear full HD on the back, on the interior camera, 2K front full HD for the interior, 4K, Full HD, and Full HD for the rear and interior. This was 2K plus 2K. So we can see the A229 Pro have introduced 2K on the rear camera compared to 139 Pro. But not only this, in 3-channel mode, the A139 Pro had only 24 frames per second when HDR was enabled in 3 channels mode. In other channels mode, 1 channel or 2 channels, the 4K was 30 fps. But with the A229 Pro, we always have 30 frames per second, no matter what is the resolution used or the number of cameras. We always have 30 frames per second. As my experience, 60 frames per second is not so needed for dashcam usage, better for action cameras, but some people like to have higher FPS. Even I don't consider it's necessary for dashcam. Going back, we can see HDR, and on this new version, the Plus and the Pro, the HDR is for the all 3 channels. Going back, we can see the Starvis 2 sensor image used on the Pro Plus and 139. Starvis was used on A229. The biggest advantage of the A229 Pro and 139 Pro is because they are using the biggest image sensor from the market in a dashcam. It is 8.86 milliliters image sensor for both 2 cameras. It's 1/1.8 type for this, and this is 6.53 millimeter. This is the standard image sensor for dashcam in general. But what is the most important thing? It's about the pixel size. So even the Pro version is a 4K dashcam, the pixel size remains the same because the physical size of the image sensor is bigger, and in this way Sony was able to keep the same pixel sizes and almost the same SNR1. It is a Sony standard for the image in low light conditions. So we can see here is almost the same, no matter if it's a 2K camera or 4K camera. But compared to Starvis camera and not Starvis 2, we can see this was 0.59, 0.6, which means the image in low light conditions is not good as the Starvis 2 image sensors, because the smaller value, the better for the camera. So this is a big step forward for the Starvis 2 cameras. Another things you need to know about the low light condition is that the Plus version, the 2K lenses are f-stop 1/6, but the 4K is f1/8 on both camera, on A139 Pro and A229 Pro. This means that if you will put side by side these 2 cameras in low light, you will see that the Plus version will have a brighter image during night because the lens is f1/6. But in real world, it's not very important to have a brighter image during night. It's more important to capture license plates, and this is where the HDR is doing its job. As you can see in these 3 cameras, the HDR is available, was not available on A229. It was WDR. So the biggest advantage is the HDR. Of course, they have good low light image, but the Plus is very possible to have a brighter image compared to the 4K resolution because of the lens, not because of the pixel size. The lens is the same on both camera, 140, 160 and 150, but here I wrote 155 because in real life Even the specification of the lens are the same, 140 degrees. In real life, the 4K resolution have a wider lens, maybe about 155 degrees. This is just an estimation, it is not very exactly. So you will expect a little wider image on the Pro version. Now about the bit rate. When using the Pro version in one channel mode and two channel mode, you will have about 57 megabits per second. But when using in three channel mode, the front camera will have about 36 megabits per second. The rear camera is always 24, and the interior camera, of course, is always 16 or 15 megabits per second. For the Plus version, we will have always for the front camera 28 megabits per second. For the rear, about 27 megabits per second, and for the interior, about 15 megabits per second. What do you need to know about the bit rate? It is in connection with the chipset. As we can see, here is the main chipset for the Pro version. Here is the main chipset for the Plus. We have another number. It is the 99562 on both these two new versions of A229. This means for the rear camera, it is using a special chipset to encode the video, and in this way we can have HDR on all three channels, because the rear camera is encoded separately, and this will not put more stress on the main chipset for the camera. Going back to the differences between cameras, we can see we have here microphone input. Here we don't have microphone input. All cameras has voice notifications, but the new version receive the voice commands. Are about 8 voice commands for these two models. Here is a little about the power used in parking mode. It is an estimation, it's not very exactly, but this is what you can expect for the camera. It is about 7 watts in 3 channels mode for the Pro version. For the A229 Plus, about 6 watts, and for the A139 Pro were almost 9 watts. And for the 2 channels mode, we have about 5 watts for Pro, 6 watts for the Plus. This is a little strange, but this are my calculations, and 6 watts for the A139 Pro. This is the weight of the cameras. It is interesting to see that the A229 have 140 grams, but the Plus and Pro versions have 170, and this is because of the heatsink used over the chipset to allow a better cooling of the cameras. Okay, seems that I told to you everything I wanted, so I will say now bye bye.